Posting on social media opens you up for judgment, yet it forces expansion.
Yep.
So does a hair transplant. Which experience affected how you show up in the world more?
The Instagram thing was like obviously had been something for about 5 or 6 years first. So the fashion, the travel, that was something that was always a focus, and that was always at the forefront of social media for me. And it was also something I was super passionate about. 1, for work, the suits I wore for work, and 2, the travel that I got to do for work. Then the process went from being on photo shoots, doing some TV stuff as well. Social media started to change, right? So social media personalities were now in the front of magazines, or they were in TV. I was sort of in charge of my own content, shot my own stuff. So I was my own harshest critic. But when you start sitting down in front of a TV like crew or a makeup artist, and they say, hey, can we hide his receding hairline, or can we make his hair look thicker, or can we make it look like he's got a full head of hair for TV? When that starts reoccurring once and twice or 3 times, then that's one of the things that start to get like, I'm getting a little bit self-conscious about it. Yeah, I'm now like 35. It's becoming more and more prevalent. And then when people start pointing it out, I'm like, is it getting worse, or am I making it worse because I'm looking at it now more often because people have been pointing it out?
Do you think that them pointing it out led you to shift how you showed up on social media?
No. Actually, one thing I've never done, I've never actually tuned or changed my appearance. I've always hated the idea of going and meeting somebody and them going, he doesn't look anything like his photos. So I owned it. Like I really did. I mean, the only things I really did at the time was change my hairstyle to make it look like it was like, my part would cover this side. And I found myself knowing that on my right side of my face, that was the most natural, straightest looking hairline. So I'd always be shifting my body to the right a little bit and up to the camera. So if the camera's shooting there, I'd be like...
Was the transplant one of the reasons you started to do more full face, or was that something that happened after the fact?
That was something that happened after the fact. That actually the initial part of Instagram, like the first 1 or 2 years, was the ambiguity of who it was, traveling and things like that. Then from like 1.5 to like now, there was just my face in there as well, like working on the self-branding, my personality, how I was in front of camera, speaking, all that kind of stuff. And then when that led to more opportunities with larger brands, then I decided to get a hair transplant based on the feedback that I was getting from my hairline. At the same time, I also wanted to maximize my amount of time in this industry. And like I know, I look at myself in this job now as a 35-year-old person in social media, like how much relevance am I going to have in like 5 years' time? Am I still going to be followed? Does my audience grow with me? Do I become irrelevant? Are the younger people still going to follow me? So I thought going for the hair transplant was something that was going to keep me confident.
Keep you younger for longer?
Keep me, I think it was the 2 double-edged swords to this, right? It was winding the clock back a little bit to look younger, because you look at the before and afters, and it does. Like for me, I'm like, it shaves off 2 to 5 years of some of the before and afters of other people that I saw online, and give me confidence to do more things in front of camera and not be worried about it.
Do you think that your audience will grow with you?
I hope so. I think the audience on TikTok, my audience is a little bit different because there is a lot of hair transplant stuff on there. So that audience has grown from almost nothing to around 40, 50,000 followers. Stuff that I've put on social media with the hair transplant stuff is just inundated with questions. It just brings in a full different audience. And I think the people who are coming in for the hair transplant quality for content are also men that are in my target market as well, for me to focus on travel, health and lifestyle as well. So it's attracting the right.
I guess, well, that's kind of like the typical influencer too. It's someone that you're attracting them because you were that person. So now they're being attracted to you because you have A, created the life that they want to live, B, got the hair transplant that they're looking to get, and C, are now starting to talk about these things openly, which I feel like a lot of people are afraid to.
One guy at the gym, like I think about a year ago, right after the hair transplant, and I was probably 6 months in, so the hair hadn't fully grown. I'd owned it. I'd started taking the baseball cap off. I was like, screw this. It's a talking point, and you can see it's obvious. There is a window there. You go, yeah, that guy's just had a fresh hair transplant. And I was
Now that you've had it, you can see it clear as day.
now that I've had it,
Yeah.
if I look at my old photos or people bring up photos, it's the first thing my eyes look at is like my old photos of my hairline. I'm like, man, I look so different.
Or if you see someone else walking around with a cap on, you can point it out to see like that guy just had it.
Yeah, you can see in the back of his hairline from where they took it. And also like, at the front as well, you can see it. But the guy came up to me at the gym and was like, mate, I hid the fact that I have had a hair transplant about 4 or 5 years ago. Don't mention it. Don't talk about it. He says, I started following you on Instagram and you've been open from day one and I've been talking about it. I've seen the comment section. I know you've talked about how many DMs you're getting about it. And I realized that you've changed the conversation on it as well, like that it's something to be talked about. And now he just came up and thanked me. He's like, because I was like, I'm opening and having a conversation with it most nights at the pub now. Tell my mates, you should do this. I've got it. Because a lot of people, after you had a hair transplant, you can't tell.
Do you know why you started to bald? Was it genetic for you?
I wasn't, for me, like I wasn't balding. I had a high widow's peak and then I had that from like when I was 18, 19 at school, right? And it had remained, it had gotten higher and worse at around 30, 35, right? 30, 32.
Walk me through the process of actually getting the transplant itself, because I know you initially dove in Melbourne, or was it
Brisbane?
In Brisbane. You didn't end up going forward with it in Australia and you ended up going to Turkey for it instead.
Yeah.
What was the logic behind that?
Well, I wanted to get it done. It was something that I'd come to the grips with. I had like looked online, saw some of the before and afters, and I was just like, these are unreal. This is what I want to do. So I went and saw a clinic in Brisbane, went through the whole process of drawing the new hairline, and the quote was about between 15 and 20K Aussie dollars. And then I thought, it's steep. It's a big investment. The process there for them was go in. If they said that they needed more hair follicles, they were going to charge you $2,500 in the chair.
What are you going to tell them to stop while you're done?
Halfway through. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then I just decided to check what my options were overseas. So I was aware that Turkey was was the mecca of hair transplants. The guys out there that were doing them were leading, doing the most amount of them, but also leading the charge on technology and the way they were doing the procedure as well. Just because of the sheer amount that they were doing out over there. And they'd been doing Manchester football players. They were doing guys in the UFC. And I was like, these guys are a great reputation amongst, athletes as well and celebrities. So I reached out to them and they said, yeah, send us what your doctors in Brisbane, have had a look at and then what they think. And we'll do a Skype call as well. So we did that and they said, yeah, 3,500 hairs, they're spot on. And it's going to cost you 3,500 USD. Like, okay. Had a look at flights with a 1,500 return. Then the procedure included pickups. Got here, had a translator with me for 3 days, 3 nights accommodation. The procedure, 6 months of aftercare. I'm talking pills, tablets, shampoos, disinfectant washes, and consistent monitoring for the 3 days afterwards. We had a nurse in the hotel and they took us back to the clinic to wash our hair for 3 days afterwards. The Australian clinic, they discharged you.
And just said, you're off.
They took the money and was like, there you go. So I just felt that I was going to be taken better care of in Turkey. Bang for buck was amazing. Plus we got to experience Istanbul, got there 7 days earlier to experience what Turkey was like as well. And it was quite funny actually. You get to Turkey, you get to the airport and you see how many people have got their heads bandaged up just leaving the country. I reckon there was hundreds.
Really?
Yeah, hundreds.
Yeah, you see that a lot in the US too, with people who are doing elective procedures and going abroad for it, because in the States, their either insurance doesn't cover it or they have to do something that's out of pocket.
Yeah.
And I know Thailand's a big place for a lot of dental procedures too.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that Turkey would be for hair.
Yeah. Yeah. They're really killing with the hair procedures. And then, they on the day, they sit you down and they say, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to just pretty much, we'll numb you, they shave you bald, right? And they outline where they're going to take their hair from.
Was that ever a thought for you, was just shave it all off?
There was a point where I shaved it all off, and in the video, I uploaded this, I still watch it today, I shaved my head, and I'm sitting there going, good. I actually don't mind what my hair looks like. I look good. Yeah. And uploading it, people were like, you should just keep this shaved head.
Huh.
But it was too far. We were there.
Because people also do the needling too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there's the
tattoo.
The tattoos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another really big one. I've got a mate who's got that, and you can barely tell.
So you land, they pick you up, they take you there, and they handle everything along the entire way?
They hold your hand from pickup to blood test to the consultation, drop you back at the hotel, and they say, see you at 7:00 in the morning.
And so you then made a trip of it as well with the social media piece. So it was a 2 birds, 1 stone kind of piece.
Exactly.
Before we dive into kind of where you're at now with social media, take me back to the beginning. How did you starting to create lifestyle content begin? Yeah. And where did that idea stem from?
I was a photographer back in the day when I was shooting mainly on film and living in a dark room. University, started business with my dad. The business was a shipping franchise company. So if you can imagine Webjet, and it compares DHL, FedEx, UPS, TNT for international carriers and domestic carriers, right? So we take that, essentially that piece of platform, warehouses, and they're allowed to ship wherever they want, choose the carriers they want with having one account with us. So we franchised that business model and expanded it in Australia and probably to Asia. As that got busier and busier, and as we brought on more and more franchises, travel became super demanding. And that's when I decided to re-pick up a camera and just shoot the suits I was wearing for work and the location I was drinking coffee. So everywhere I went, I traveled with a camera bag and shot fashion content and travel content that was driven by my work.
Were you always interested in fashion?
I wasn't at all. No, I think there was an element of being in Sydney when we first started it up, and we were sitting down with fashion labels. We were working with big companies, financial companies that had offices in like London and New York, and we'd go to these buildings and these guys would come in double-breasted suits and stuff like that at the meetings, and that's kind of just where I picked up idea to just look a little bit more professional when I was in the meetings with these guys. I got addicted to it, started like buying suits. Actually, you probably don't have it here in America, but Salvos or Vinnie's, it's like it's an op shop, like pre-loved suits. So I go and get those and then tailor them in.
To you, yeah.
And then go out.
Do you think that having the suit led to the success that you had in business because you felt the part before you were the part?
Yeah, I mean, like I can associate that same feeling with the hair transplant, the feeling in the suit. You know, it's like feeling really confident. Like the moment I put on a suit, I feel like I'm more powerful in the meeting. Deliver more confidence in when I'm speaking, talking, giving and also, I think first impressions are pretty important. Coming in with a strong handshake and a suit.
Do you feel that same way within specific attire or within specific settings, or would you recommend that some like? For me, I wear pretty much the same thing every day. I'm like yeah. I'm in joggers and a black tee. Not because I don't value how I look, but because I feel confident and comfortable in that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to remove the thought process in the morning of like having to pick out what I was going to wear for the day. So I wanted to simplify and automate that.
Yeah.
Because that's not something that's a primary value or need of mine.
Sure.
Do you see men who are struggling with confidence? Would that be the first place that you steer them to look?
Yeah. I think firstly, you got to wear what gives you confidence. Like that outfit for you as well was the Steve Jobs method, right? He wore the same jeans, same thing, everything. He's like, don't need to know.
I was like, if I don't so there's certain things like I love experiences, I love travel, I love these things, and that's where I would prioritize my time, my money, and my resources.
Sure.
Clothing wasn't really ever one of those for me. I had like phases here and there where I wanted to do this or do that, and if there's a special occasion, I'll toss on the suit or get fitted for something new.
Yeah.
But in the day to day, I'm like, I got black shorts and a tee for the gym, and then I come home and I toss on pants and a black tee for the day.
Yeah. Well, again, it's being comfortable in, you know, the job that you do, and also feeling comfortable in the clothes that you wear. And everyone feels different in different things. So I would probably not recommend a suit to walk around the day for your meetings and sitting here as well, right?
Yeah.
So I would start with dressed the way that you want to dress as well. I mean, there's always adaptations, and there's also like, you know, there's styling coaches and things like that. Like if you want to go out, if you're going out on a Saturday night out for a few beers, would you wear that?
Probably throw on jeans.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think if you're going to be out meeting new people, I'll just wear whatever is going to make you more comfortable. For me, like it's a suit. I go from not only confident but completely bulletproof. Like I love it for even walking onto a plane in case you get the little cheeky upgrade. But yeah, for meetings, it's definitely suits and things like that. But it goes down to also diet and exercise. And the dressing is just one part of a bigger.
Do you think that some men don't necessarily know how to dress?
Yes, there's definitely an audience out there, especially on Instagram right now, that I'm finding is men don't know how to dress or what pairs with what. And that's kind of like the new avenue of what I want to go down. I think Instagram had that, especially with influencers, the last couple of years, it's been, I said, say like vainly driven. It's more like, look at me, look how good I look and look where I am. But now I think the demands of Instagram are coming down now to education. The content needs to be good and it's educational. So I think taking that shift, teaching men what to wear, what goes with what, how to wear something formal, semi-formal and casual, I think that's the educational
standpoint and tailoring the account to be like, this is what you could wear in these settings and then catering to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Taking a break from this episode to remind you that your inputs matter. This show was created to help you build a high-performing, healthy, wealthy life. And if you feel that you're getting value from this episode, please go ahead and share it with someone who you feel would benefit as well. Now, fun fact, over 90% of our listenership is not actually subscribed to the show, so it would mean the world to me if you went ahead and tapped that subscribe button. Thank you for being here. Now back to the show. When you started your account, you kind of fell into it with the suits because you're posting yourself in the cafes, and now that's shifting more to a lifestyle environment. Do you have any pieces of someone that wants to do more lifestyle content like that has worked for you? Or what is the biggest input that you've seen from a social media standpoint that has allowed you to grow the account that you have?
That's a good question. So there's two parts to that. Firstly, I think the men's space as a whole, globally, especially Australia, is underrepresented. I think there's still a lot of men that can do both travel, fashion, and lifestyle stuff. I think there's not enough. In fact, I know for the likes of Australia, there's people who've been called, or influencers or content creators, they're overexposed just because there isn't enough and too many brands have worked with them, right? The thing that I think will drive success for people that want to get involved in this now is showcasing personality. A mixture of both amateur and professional footage. But, what I found me personally and what I saw on other people's accounts, as Instagram and social media changed from just photos to now reels and video, people that had great accounts that were just, awesome photos, a lot of those guys have died off because they didn't have the personality to match video and, story content. So I think being able to dynamically showcase your personality in photos, reels, and videos, that's going to keep you in the game longer.
There's a level of authenticity that comes with that too.
I think it's getting comfortable with camera, being in a room. I think nobody who starts doing social media, putting up a camera, is going to be naturally gifted. I think it's forcefully putting videos out there at the very beginning, understanding that they're not going to be great at the very beginning. But as you get more comfortable with 3 cameras in the room, the less you care about it, you naturally start to become yourself. And I think that's when your personality really comes through.
So obviously successful business, shifted to social media, you still have the business. Do you view that through a consistency and repetition piece? And that's how you approach everything that you enter into your life?
Yeah, the content piece is, I find the moment I'm not consistent in the content, I'm not shooting, I'm not recording videos even at home or with other content creators, right? There can be a week or 2 weeks that will go past and it is so hard to pick up and turn on the camera and you haven't got the momentum, yeah. But I think that's, that's the same thing like with, for you, gym, ice bath and getting into here. You set up an awesome routine. Like your routine here is epic.
Yeah.
Right. I think the moment you break that, then you could probably see the quality of your work just slightly decline, or just you in that space, working that space is not as confident as it could be. So that's the same with me and having a camera on me at the same time as well.
That's the reason for the routine, and the reason for that was because I traveled extensively for the past 2 years, and I recognized that each month that I was still abroad or still gone, I was like, okay, where am I eating today? What cafe am I going to? Where am I staying? What hotel? And I could see the inputs of what I was doing and the trajectory of what I was doing started to wane, because I was, oh, that's a cool thing in this new city. Get distracted rather than, okay, wake up, gym, plunge, come in here, record or hit a meeting, and you get that habit, that routine.
Exactly. I feel like I'm exactly where you're just talking about now with this trip now here of being away from Australia, the hotel, the routine, the also the things that you have at home that are comfort assets as well.
So from a consistency aspect, walk me through what your current social media content strategy or process looks like.
Yeah. In terms of like a wheelhouse, like going forward, I think for 2024 is going to look like the travel stuff is definitely, I think, something that's achievable for everybody, and everyone's always looking to go and do something new. The bringing out the personality alongside educational videos, what to wear, what to dress, how to dress, and where to dress for the right occasions as well. The last part is just the fashion lifestyle stuff, where I wear the suits. To give it some context, usually if I say wear this to this sort of style meeting or wear this to a coffee date, people like to see me just a nice still in that setting wearing that outfit. So travel, education, and fashion, that's the 3 pillars for me.
Double click, let's go behind the camera now. So double click on that. Do you ideate and say, I want to get this shot today? Do you just live your day and you shoot in the moment? Yeah. How does that work flow?
Yeah. So I think I'm naturally a super creative, disorganized person. They just for me, they come together quite well. So there is an element of me trying to plan my days, and that's planning the video, what style that's going to be. So it's like what to wear on a long haul flight, what to wear on a short haul flight, what to wear on a date. Having those topics and then going through creating a shot list, outfits, and then script writing as well, but loosely having the teleprompter up and knowing exactly what my dot points are going to be. They're the things that I like to do now. But then there's also a lot that comes from those videos when you post, right? So people end up texting you being like, hey, I'm a girl here. What are your 3 best, femme suits to wear? Or I'm going to go off to Bali next week and it is so hot. I can't wear a suit. I just need, what are your top 3 brands for resort wear? So,
and then that inspires the next piece of content.
The next series, exactly. Well. So it's one of those things in social media that the work generates the work. The more you work, the more work comes from it as well. And that's content ideas, working with more brands, and obviously more exposure.
How do you track all of that?
How do I track in terms of...
do you use a database? Is it something you have on the notes app in your phone? Do you keep it in the Melon? Like which?
Oh, yeah. So the notes section, and then I build on it, because then my notes section on my phone, obviously the same note section as your laptop. So I just build on that. Once you're on a flight as well.
You just get it all out. And here's the idea. This is what I'm going to create. Let's go and shoot that content.
Yeah, exactly. Plan it, choose the outfits, and then loosely script write exactly what you want to write.
Do you ever find yourself getting a creative block, or have you in the past?
Oh, so many creative blocks. I think, man, at the end of last year, I thought I was going to throw the whole towel in. I thought it was just like too difficult. I was like,
because of why?
I just think as a creative who's on social media, I'm having these months where you've just, you don't get your sponsored content. Right? It's quiet months. There you are creating just immense amount of free content or filler content in between the paid stuff. I feel like that sometimes can be the most exhausting stuff, is creating content for no reason, or waking up and having like, man, I got to get something out today. I don't even know what it is. And I go through these cyclical waves of no ideas, nothing, to having lots, but then those don't bring in an income. So there are days you go like, I'm working for free. Is this the best allocation of my time? Should I be starting another business, or should I be jumping into an existing business that I have? But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I think content I create that is, for free or just informative based on my opinion, some of the stuff that I get is the most rewarding based on emails, DMs, and comments back. And you go, yeah, that the people are willing to listen and needed to listen to that.
Is the primary revenue generator for the content brand work and doing partnerships like that, or do you also monetize social in another way?
Yes, I don't have my stuff on YouTube. It's been mainly short form videos that was on TikTok. So funding for me, or the income that comes from it, is the brand sponsorship stuff that's in between all the free educational videos. Yeah.
Where would someone begin if they wanted to reach out to brands or have brands reach out to them in order to get in order to start generating income from their channel?
I think, so this is a tough one, right? Because I think now you see UGC content coming through, like a bit more amateur now, is actually being on social media. But I feel like when you reach out to brands and work with them, actually creating high quality content is still a market for that. Brands love seeing their product in a really good light, something that looks like it can be on a billboard. And it's not hard to create that content anymore, right? So I think if you're an SME and you're working and you've got a couple $100 to spend on influencers, still create phenomenal content with high quality, and of course make it unique to you. Showcase your personality through video. When it comes to creating stills, style it, find good locations, do the research, and create something that a brand's going to be proud of. Rather, maybe not that you're proud to post, but the brand will go, have a look at our product and that looks unreal.
When you got your first brand sponsorship or your first brand deal, how did that come about?
That was a brand called Rod & Gun, and I still work with them today.
Really?
And I just ticked over 8,000 followers, and they are a suit company out of New Zealand, and they're based in Australia, now launched here in the US as well now. They reached out to me and said, we want to fly down to Melbourne. We're going to give you a suit and put you in a hotel and take some shots of us for your social media. That was it. I thought I'd made it. I was like, was that I'm a living legend.
Was that the first gifted suit you had got?
First gifted suit, first job, first international, first domestic flight, first hotel paid for. Check. Yeah. I was like, it's not going to get better than this. This is it. I've made it. It's definitely gotten better than that. Yeah. In fact, I was working with that brand in France for the Rugby World Cup, and they sponsored a couple of rugby players over there, dressed them, and and that brand's killing it as well. So it's good to actually also have that relationship with the brand and grow together. Yeah.
So you talk about quality on one side and getting these shots that brands would want to see that looks like it could be on a billboard, and then you also talk about the side of the quantity of getting it out through repetition and recognizing that one is not going to be as good as 10, it's not going to be as good as 100.
Yeah.
You have a very polished page, profile, look, everything. Where does the trade-off happen for the quality versus quantity discussion?
Well, for me, I'm one of those influencers stuck in their old ways where I'm still wanting to post amazing quality stuff, right? That's become the feed. So I'm finding it hard to make that shift and change. And the thing is, even though I have posted stuff that is iPhone videos on my feed, they're some of the best videos that are on there. And I'm still stubborn, still too stubborn to just put up more iPhone stuff. So a lot of my amateur content is coming on mainly on stories. I'm just offering sort of a little bit of a window into my life, sort of BTS and guess a bit of tomfoolery, and your personality comes through on stories. But the feed is where it's I'd say curated.
How would you say things have shifted moving into 2024 now?
Yeah, I'm going to definitely focus on actually taking advice, taking my own advice that I'm giving out to a lot of new or starting influencers that have reached out to me. And that is actually focusing on more raw, authentic iPhone style stuff. So I feel like that is, it is that.
Have you seen anything tactically within social media change over the last couple months that you've taken note on and started to prioritize?
I think some of the most, and it kind of frustrates me, but it's some of the most popular stuff that's going on right now is the day-to-day vlogging stuff, right? So it's people want to get that window, that snap into your life. There's a guy that's got 3.4 million followers on Instagram at the moment because he's snapping his day job. That's it. I'll send you the account.
Okay.
And it's just him waking up, going to the gym, driving his mid-price vehicle with his dog to work, working an office job, typing away on a keyboard, lunch, and home. And that is it. And he's in the millions of followers at the moment.
Well, so there's a guy in Venice here, Justin Kahn. He was the one who started Twitch TV. Do you remember?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it used to be Justin.tv was the channel, and he was the first person to live stream his day 24 hours a day. So he was on, it was for a couple of years he did this. So like the camera would just be set up in the room, he'd be sleeping, and it'd be like, be back at 8 a.m. and he would wake up, and he was online consistently for, we got to fact check this, but like it was like 2 or 3 years that it was just a 24/7 live stream.
Self-produced Truman Show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So is that?
Well, he ended up shifting into Twitch, which he sold for $1 billion. Like literally, it was like 990 million.
That is quantity over quality.
So then if someone's starting out, how would you recommend them view quantity so you get more repetitions in?
Yeah.
And then you can find what works for you? Or
Yeah, I think the key is to just pump out content as much as you possibly can, because you find your style. Like anyone who's a creative and an artist or whatever, the more you paint, the more stuff you film, the more you edit, you eventually develop your own style, which is what people will eventually buy into, which is what then the brand buys into, right? Once you develop your style, brands aren't going out now anymore like they would an advertising agency. Like, these are the briefs. We want you to hit this brief. It's, hey, Shaun's got this interesting style. So-and-so's got this interesting video technique. We want to buy into that style of content with our product.
So the brand isn't conforming to the person. The brand is conforming to the person. The person isn't conforming to the brand, which is like the way it used to be.
Yeah. I mean, 2 or 3 years ago, if an alcohol or perfume company or suit company came to me, they would say, here's the budget and here's the brief. This is what we want to look at now. Now they come to you with the money without the brief. However, we've got a mood board, but other than that, concept, the way that you deliver it, storyline, come back to us for approval.
So it's more them reaching out to individuals because of their own authentic approach to content, rather than saying you need to conform. This is the whatever brand stereotype, you need to do this thing.
You'll find some influencers, super creative guys that know how to use Premiere Pro on another level, or Photoshop on another level, and you can see their work sort of come through artistically in photos and videos with that brand. Some amazing guys out there doing some seriously cinematic stuff as well.
Yeah, because there's the creative, stylistic piece of that, but the vast majority of people they're reaching out to, at least what I've seen recently from, especially we were talking before about CPG brands here, they're reaching out to people specifically because this is their style, this is what they post, and they want a product placement in something that doesn't even look like an ad.
Exactly. Yeah. And statistically, they're looking at going, these videos have gone viral before. Can we give this amateur content creator
to replicate
a product to replicate a viral video like that again?
So brands that are reaching out to you now, they're saying a very similar thing?
Yeah, they don't reach out, I don't think, to me and to other people with the expectation that the video is going to go viral, right? The thing is, with the amateur content, they kind of do have that expectation, right? But with me, which is why I think people still need to have that national content creator in there, you're sort of buying into a content creator that is going to create phenomenal content, so they don't have to go to a photographer and videographer, and they're getting the audience at the same time. So they've cut out a like a creative agency when they go directly to an influencer, and they're getting their target market that they can get from insights, plus the content as well. That's why I think it's good to have that professional element in there.
As we begin to wrap up here, the final piece, kind of specifically in the social media niche, what would you say is the biggest input that has provided the largest return for you when it comes to social media?
I think now it is coming down to consistently always work with other creators. I think if in that creative lull, if there's somebody like that's watching this going, I'm in a rut, go back out and work with people in the same industry as you, connect with them, create content with them, because at the end of the day, they're the guys that are going to be influencing the influencer. Yeah. And it's important to have those sort of people around you that get those creative juices flowing. So consistency around creating it, about what your style of content is going to look like, and just keep delivering on it.